You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
This makes my nipples hard.
And welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show if this is your first time showing up for the show randomly, because this is like far into it now. And we've gotten so far into it that we've decided there's not a lot more to talk about with Sierra games. So instead, we're going to talk about Sierra games.
Man. We're off to one of our famous bumpy starts. This is going to be good.
It's not bumpy. It's beautiful and pixelated because we're talking about ranking AGI games, Adventure Game Interpreter games. It's funny when you put it like that, actually.
I said nothing. You know, don't you drag me into hell. Yeah, we're ranking AGI games because we needed a quick episode that required zero heads up, and we could just sit down and talk about stuff. And for us, it's AGI. And believe it or not, after 200 episodes, we've never ever done a ranking episode. No, never. I don't think. Maybe once.
No, we didn't want to. Maybe
that ruins the whole sureness of it, though. Maybe once, because we've never done like a top 10 or whatever ranking. We've saved it for emergencies. Like now, we're like, we need to do a thing. So we're doing a thing, and we're gonna rank them all, and we're even gonna do math at some point, and calculate or average out our rankings. So at the end of this episode, you're gonna get, a ranking. You're gonna get two other people's opinions, just beaten into you for 40 some minutes. That was a terrible way to keep an audience. Anna, why don't you try it? What do you got? You have good words? Try some of your words.
I took all the games on this list except for Mixed Up Mother Goose that are AGI games, and you'll find out because you'll be like, oh, is there like a whole bunch of them? Is there 20 or 30? There is not 20 or 30. There's actually quite a few less. So I've stacked them not on top of each other. Oh my goodness. No, never. But I've stacked them in some general way next to me so that I can refer to the boxes during the episode because I think that I needed a reason to own them. And This podcast is one of the few reasons I have to run to the big live edge shelf above my couch, like jump over people that are on the couch trying to play games and be like, I need this one and this one, this one, this one, and this one, this one. And then I can like put it down in their face and be like, remember this one's got this book in it. And he's like, yeah.
Right. He's like, please leave.
He kept saying, I can get them for you, Mom, so you don't have to do that. And I'm like, nope, this is fine.
No, it's part of your like investigatory opening montage, where you like carefully pick the books off the shelf that you need to solve the case. That's what you're doing. This is a business expense, more or less. These boxes.
It is. As I blow the dust off and say, haha, time for another round, shall we? But it is nice when I go to play a game because, you take it and then you open it and be like, oh, if I have it, I can take the original documentation out of the box and hold it in my hands and say PDF, whatever.
Right. Yeah, this is all just justification is without beating around the bush. But it's job well done. I mean, check. Or check if it's in writing.
Yeah.
All right. Where should we start off? We should just go in chronological order here.
Yeah, give or take, Let's start with the original OG Quest for the Crown, 1984 is the version we're talking about, AGI, and boy, is it ever something.
I like how you said 84 there. It sounds like you're giving in a little bit. Last episode when we discussed this, you were on the 83 side, if you remember. We had a very public fight about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They were all the newspaper articles were like, is this the end of the CGG podcast?
Host Feud goes live on air. Man, I love that voice. It's so we need to do something with that someday. Just us as a society.
Yeah, like a character.
Yeah.
Somebody that runs a ride or something. Or like an exhibit.
Right. It does have a nice abandoned amusement park kind of vibe to it. Welcome to
It
our
really
park.
does.
Um,
I think it'll be quite good.
we were doing King's Quest 1. Oh, so wait, hold on. Did you see tons of 1984 in your research for this episode? Is that what happened? I just
No,
want to
no,
salt
I
that womb
was
a
like,
little bit. Wait, not womb.
you and I both didn't want to do this episode. So I was like,
I
well,
know.
I
Imagine
won't make
salt
it
in a
any
womb.
harder.
That's just fucked up.
Yeah,
Sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry.
no, that is. It's like, is it like a slug? No, it's not. It's
Wow,
Quest for
that's
the Crown.
way
We talked
immediately
about,
worse. The visual
no,
was
it,
immediately worse.
that was
It went
bad.
in
But
there.
yeah, it was, you can edit it as needed.
We both know I'm not doing that. Yes.
It's true too. Quest for the Crown we talked about recently, so y'all kind of know how we feel about the AGI version, which is technically probably what got us thinking about doing AGI stuff in the first place. It's simplistic and it's fun. The music is a slight improvement over the original Apple II version.
What do you? Okay, we always look at this just analytically. Let's just for this like in like a National Enquirer ragmag gossipy like spirit. What do you feel about the game? Forget all the technical. We do that on other episodes. How do you just feel about playing King's Quest 1?
Well, if I leave the realm of what it means to the industry and I go with myself, I've always felt intimidated by King's Quest 1. I've always felt like it's out to get me a little bit. It's a learning game, learning about making games, learning playing games, learning what the adventure game genre is. It's fast and it's furious. It's not always easy. So it gives a lot of feels. Like, that's why I never played it without a walkthrough or a guide. As a kid, I'd play it and it wouldn't pause when I do stuff. So it was scary, but it was neat. Like, I always thought it was so three-dimensional looking for its time. Like, because I played some earlier games that were nowhere near that cool looking. The clouds in the sky were always kind of a trip. The dragon and the cave, I've always liked that. Stalagmites and stalactites. It was neat. The little castle, walking across the bridge, trying not to get eaten by alligators, but not neat enough that I ever could finish it without help.
Well, when you're ranking this game, how much consideration should we give its historical significance? That's what makes King's Quest 1 super hard to rank, because my answer would be I like this game in a historically interesting or historically relevant sort of way. Like I'm trying to look at it for like its representation of the first graphical adventure, and as you said, and it was like the 3D factor, basically with the walk behinds and things like that. The stacking, that it's significant, and it shouldn't just be brushed away or like, treated how I'm about to treat King's Quest 2.
Right.
Coming for you. Because King's Quest 1 is significant and important, but it's like as like an experience playing the game, not in 2024, because that's way brutal and unfair, but even like for us playing it for the first time in, like, I don't know, it's just 89 or 92, where it was already old and graphically pretty significantly outdated. It's just, there's so much green. It's such a green featuring brown game, with guest appearance by Gray. And it's I've always just found it tough to look at, because again, like, well, I got into Sierra games in like around 88, 89ish, I guess, which was really young. I think I was young, whatever the math is. And point being is that it already looked old. Look, I don't even think that's the point. I think the real point was, how are we supposed to rank King's Quest 1 because it's so like revered and important? I'm scared of how to rank it, because there's
I mean, if you won't divide it into two, because I'd be like, you could rank it in historical significance and then you can rank it in personal preference. But if you only want to keep it to one ranking, you're either going to have to keep them together or pull them apart.
Right. Well, we've already got the foundation for I don't know if we told the audience this. We're ranking them 1 through 5. And we're we already said we're going to tally up the scores. So the template to make the score tallying quick and easy at the end of the episode means we got to stick with 1 to 5. So I don't know. You go first.
Well,
Hot
okay.
potato, bitch.
That's fine. So since we have to make it as one, I guess we're going to do a personal ranking, and it's just you and I, because everybody's ranked these games as far as significance goes. And, I guess that has to take into context maybe if we played it later or we didn't finish it. And if you think that for you personally, the fact that it is historically significant, then you put that into your own numbers. It's all just got to be incorporated, man.
Right. All right, that's fair. You really you gave me the potato right back, and I think the audience knows that. I think we can all sense that was that was an elaborate ruse that just handed it right back to me.
I
And to
took
that I
off
say,
a
well
layer
played.
of tin foil before I returned it, but there's still more potato and more tin foil left. It's hot.
Okay, I'm gonna give King's Quest the original King's Quest a 4 out of 5,
Nice.
which is almost it's basically it. Yeah, let's just leave it there.
Wow.
Yeah, we've got a bunch more games to cover. I don't need to go in because it almost deserves 5 out of 5 for what it is representationally to the adventure genre. But I
Mm-hmm.
so don't and have never enjoyed playing it
Mm-mm.
that I just can't give it a 5 out of 5 because I don't
That's why
enjoy it.
4 is high. Like I'm like 3.5, but if we can't do halves, it has to be a 3, and I hate that.
Well, you remember you're giving your own number, so don't you try and talk me down.
Don't talk me
I love
down,
this game,
girl.
Anna.
It's a 3.
Okay, okay.
You got that?
So Anna's giving King's Quest 1 a 3 out of 5. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Uh, we're moving on immediately to King's Quest 2.
Yes.
Relentlessly on to King's Quest 2.
Hang on, let me switch boxes. Takes a second. Done.
That's fair. You hear genuine box noises in the background, people. It's
That's
beautiful.
right.
Wow. Listen to those old dusty pages smack into each other.
That's right. Box smacking.
So,
I learned how to stack them. My Colonel's Bequest game was always stacked so that it was a bit bumpy in the middle, and I hated it. And it was Gilder Kevin. He showed that you put each of the discs kind of in the corners, and you can splay it out in a way, and then the box lays flat. It's very satisfying. I went and flattened all my bulkier boxes.
it's funny because on a deeply nerdy level, I know the Colonel's Bequest comes with an absurd amount of discs, especially if you get the floppy, or especially if you get the 3.5 and
With
the
both, yeah.
5 inch. Yeah, because I think there's 10 5-inch discs with that one.
Plus, you have the magnifying glass, and then you got the book and the fingerprint
Right.
sheet, and the notepad and the pencil, and it just,
Yeah, no, it's easily like the most stacked. Right. It's funny too because right before they went to the wider box, those are like the 3 or 4 hard to close boxes, like Gold Rush as well. It kind of
yeah.
bloats
Gold
out in
Rush
the
is
middle
one of
because
them.
of the book and all that. But anyway, enough about Gold Rush. Let's move. We're still back. We're way back here on a much far less. Ah, man, words are so hard. A more inferior game. It was a fucking sick burn, right? It took me like 8 tries to spit it out. Who's the dummy now? I am, says the audience and me at the same time. King's Quest 2, I don't like it. I'm giving it a low score. Hold on, I'm slowing
Well,
myself up there.
by
Well,
mixing the best elements of text adventures and arcade quality graphics, King's Quest II establishes a whole new standard of computer gaming to which future games will be judged, says the back of the box.
it's weird to make bold, like revolutionary claims with a game that is just does what the first one did again.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing different about King's Quest 2 besides the story and puzzles, blah blah blah. But like, you know what I mean? It doesn't actually it doesn't do anything that King's Quest 1 didn't do. So it's weird to be like, this is the one that's gonna change everything. It's just we're doing that again, which is fine. And back in the day, I would have eaten it up because it's like the ability. I don't want to come across as shitting on that aspect because I really like that it stays in Daventry and it continues to build the world. I think that was a great decision. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not even what I dislike about it. It's just that the graphics were so premature at the time that it's still again just green and brown and gray, like tons of green, too much green all the time. And I didn't like the doors puzzle, which is like centric to the whole thing. Like I just wasn't buying it. Like I don't know. Again, this is all a little bit harsh considering that I played it much after it came out and things like that. It's still
Mm-hmm.
1985. I was a year and a half old, so it's like, you know, it's an old ass game. It's not much newer than King's Quest 1, I guess is what I'm saying. We shouldn't have expected leaps and bounds. But that being said, I gave all the due respects that I had in me to the first one where it belongs. And there's none left for the second. So the second for me, I kind of want to give it a 1 out of 5. I'm just hesitating if that's super like. What do you say? What do you? Maybe I'll get influence from your opinions.
Well, I mean, he's traveling distances and dimensions. There's I've never played it without a hint book either, so I'm going to probably rate it the same way I rated the last one. It's kind of neat how they describe Roberta. They say she's worked with the Walt Disney Company and Jim Henson in the development of computer software, which is like an interesting plug because neither, of course, Jim Henson nor the Walt Disney Company were in any way involved in King's Quest 2.
Right. Just as like for clout for her. That's weird because I was thinking about that this morning. I woke up thinking about Donald Ducks because of you texting me like, holy shit, this is AGI. Don't forget that was the gist of her message. And I was just like, that must be cool for Al Lowe to have been somebody who made like one of the first Disney licensed video games. And like, you know, imagine that being a big deal back then. Or not. But I imagine.
Well, to get them on a dime, the fact that they paid next to nothing for the rights for the Disney stuff to work with Disney was like quite a thing.
Right, exactly. So what do you think about King's Quest 2? Your own personal Anna experience with it.
I grouped it in with King's Quest 1, 2, and 3. Games that were too hard to play without a hint book. Games that didn't pause when I typed into them and everything kept moving. So I finished them when I got Korish's 3rd edition book of video games by following a really chunky walkthrough. And so I don't really remember a lot about the plot. I remember a vampire. I remember some witches. Witches are cool. I didn't feel that it had a lot of a storyline. I mean, you had to go and rescue a princess. And there was a beach, and there was underwater worlds. So yeah, solid for what it did for the industry. Being a part of the series, I'm going to chuck it at a 3 out of 5. Solid.
Okay. So you're giving it the same as 1?
I am.
I don't like
because I grouped them together.
You're lucky 100%. It's your choice and not mine. Because I would have done something different. I'm gonna give it. I feel bad. Is there anything else on this list? Hold on, that I would give a 1?
Hang on, let me look at the inside of the box. Maybe there's something redeeming in it.
I'm gonna give it.
I got a hint book in here.
A 1. I don't enjoy it. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm set. Look, if this doesn't get a 1, nothing is. And we chose 1 through 5 instead of 1 through 10. To give something a 1 out of 10 would be too harsh. This would be like a 3
Paul
out of 10.
does not like the land of Kalima. It is not his cup of tea.
Yeah, all right, we're good. We're good on that. I don't want to crap on it because I really love pretty much every other game coming up here.
Count Dracula's Castle, the Enchanted Island. Woohoo! Some solid action going. It's got an embossed book.
Count Dracula's Castle was cool. I did like that part of it.
Yeah, and the book is actually, it's got these really cool colored like giant pictures as the first letter of every paragraph. Like one has the Grim Reaper on it. Another one has like the owl on it with a moon. It's almost like an early version of Cedric, actually, without the little suit. Adorable. Right. Oh, and they use the owl a few times. So, see, my dad was just asking if the owl was in every single King's Quest game, and I said no. But I wonder if there is an owl somewhere involved in each one.
A prophetic Cedric somewhere, just... Yeah, I don't know. There was definitely a moose head in most of them, but... Or just, Sierra ones. All right, let's move on to Black Cauldron, number 3.
Sure, we've got our marks. But I'm taking a picture of the owl.
Okay. Dude, don't send me that.
Better. Oh, it'll come to you. You're going to get the owl. It's going to definitely arrive.
The Black Cauldron, I haven't played. I've tinkered with it. I've never actually played through the game. I think I've started it a few times and played 5 minutes on a mobile phone. It's not. Am I correct that it's not text parser?
It is.
They did something. different to bring children in with Black Cauldron?
8 different multiple solutions. There's like text on the bottom of the screen, and then you do action.
So wait, did you play
Arcade
it? Maybe I should back
sequences.
up to that. Because
No, I'm looking at the back of the box. Oh, here it is. You control the action with joystick or control keys. No text commands.
right, okay. Thank you for confirming. Okay, so neither of us have played this then, yeah?
No, no, but I do have the box in front of me. Does that count?
I mean, yeah, you're in the door.
I get some
You know?
cred. It
Yeah.
came, you know what this came with, you guys? You know, and I didn't even know because I didn't have access to this, but it came with like this whole storybook that looks like the front's like a comic, and it's like the instructions on how to play, but the front is like a castle, and then it's very fancy, is the point.
Have you seen the movie?
You have to, no.
Sorry.
Like maybe as a kid,
Right. Okay.
it teaches you how to draw a map, people, places, and things. There's Caesar Dalburn, a village that takes the name, Caer Dalbin, sorry. There's the Creeper, the Derwin. I guess these are all creatures from the movie. They're like, here's these people ranking games, and they don't even know. They haven't even played the game. They're looking at boxes and making these decisions. And, you know, it's funny how much our decisions are definitely going to impact the sale of these games going forward. I'm concerned
Right.
with that.
I'm trying to speak responsibly with that in the back of my mind the whole time. Because there's livelihoods at stake here, frankly. So it's all right. Well, look, listen. Neither of us played Black Cauldron, and I'll just say, we'll just get to them when we get to them. There's 2 others that I haven't played, which is fine. But because Anna and I I think we did the math ahead of time. We've both played 11 out of 14 AGI games, so that's enough for the episode. But this one,
Well, and I've played Manhunter 1 and 2. I've just not completed them, so I feel like I have some authority there.
wow, you're pulling rank on me already. Unbelievable. All right, so for Black Cauldron, we're just gonna call that we don't know. We're not ranking this one because that's not
applicable. What about from just looking at the back of the box or the pictures? Like, you have to give it something. Let's judge it without knowing it.
I mean, I want to give it a 5 out of 5 because it's
Disney.
It's like a new Sierra AGI game to me. I haven't played it. I was really excited to play it until I found out it wasn't text parser and that it was kind of, I don't know if dumbed down is even appropriate or correct, but I had heard that it was simplified. There we go. And
because
then
it's a children's game, I'm gonna give it. It should be a 3.5 again, and I won't. I've been averaging down, so it's a 3.2.
Okay. Well,
1,020 cells of animation, 30 animated characters that walk and swim.
Oh, I'm glad you added the last part there.
There's a truthful harp and musical tunes, 8 different musical tunes from the Black Cauldron movie, and Paul, 17 different sound effects.
Wow, we're counting sound effects. We are definitely in 1986. That's actually quite charming. Thank you for seeing that through. All right, I think that is all the juice left in that lemon, if that's a saying. And if it's not, please consider it for becoming one. And moving on to Donald Duck's motherfucking Playground.
But not every version of it, like not the Tandy version or like the Apple, but the version I played and the version many of us saw were in AGI. Not the version in my hand, because it's the Tandy version. Right. But that's just what I have.
So Anna woke me up this morning, rudely, I should say.
Yelling.
Because like I woke up to a message from her and I turned it into "she woke me." That's so victim-y. And she let me know that not only was Donald Duck's Playground actually on AGI, but with an asterisk mark, because it turns out that only the let's say the DOS, the IBM version is AGI and the rest are EGI. Very cool.
Yeah, the Amiga version and the original DOS version for randomly is AGI. It's like, what? But okay.
Right. And for anybody who doesn't know or doesn't, I don't know, I forgot it existed, but EGI was the extended graphics interpreter. Mm-hmm. By the way, AGI means Adventure Game Interpreter. I think everybody listening knows, and half of them forgot right? It's one of those where it's like, oh yeah, that's what it was. And
Are
then
you saying interpretator? That's what makes it. That's a good
interpreter.
word.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like that word even better. It makes it sound like that hot potato that
Yeah,
we were talking about earlier.
it really gives the engine a personality. You know, he's just out there
Yes.
figuring stuff out, just trying to understand.
He was the best darn interpreter we ever had at this office.
Really made sense of those pixels. He did. But EGI, Extended Graphics Interpreter, that was the engine that was responsible for Sierra's more texty stuff like Wizard and Princess, Cranston Manor, Mission Asteroid, Ulysses and the Golden Fleece, Time Zone, and the Dark Crystal. So Donald Duck's Playground stepped out of EGI and into AGI just for the DOS version. And real quick, in case anybody's wondering, Mickey Mouse Space Adventure was not either engine. From what I was able to understand, it's not AGI and it wasn't EGI either. I don't know what it was. This was like 5 minutes before we were recording. I was waiting for Anna and was like, "What about Mickey Mouse?"
Right. No, I don't have that one on here, but it was something they developed. Like, I know that they learned a lot of random ways to make things. Like Al Lowe didn't even know how to use AGI, and I was watching on an episode of Stu's Reviews, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I went to Ken's house and I learned how to use the AGI because there was no instructions written for it or anything. You just had to be next to him. So I'd be like, oh, how do you do this? And Ken would just be like, oh, you just do this or this and it's fine." And that was how he learned. Like, well, that's a pretty cool way to learn.
I really like your interpretation there. And he's like, it's this and this and it's fine. You're good to go.
That's how easy it is to code, folks. Get in there.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that, man. All right, I really like Donald Duck's Playground. It's a really fun time.
I spent a lot of time with it. I liked making money. I liked fixing my playground. I was like, the train one was kind of harder. I remember
yeah, you're right.
There was like a gym where you'd go into different rooms and you wouldn't get much, but you could like ride a rocking horse or use like the dumbbells or climb a ladder. Catching the watermelons because they were worth the most.
Right. I was kind of mistaking the watermelons for the train because you sort the fruit in like a very, I don't know, train car looking box or whatever.
It does, into these crates, and it's on a train, like a train of fruit.
Right, because they're moving. Thank you. Okay, that completes the memory. Yeah, that was always my favorite just because it was, it was just fast paced, relentless action.
Oh my God, but the toys on the shelf and the fucking train kept making them fall off the shelf, and you're like, yeah, the damn train.
Right, I did grovel like a 72-year-old man. Just this goddamn train.
It's true. But it was good. I mean, I loved the game. It was my introduction. It was my first introduction into a 3D type video game environment. I'd never done anything like that before. Being able to save up the money and buy things, going into the 5 and 10 or the junk store, picking stuff up. It was a cool learning experience. I think that it set a good foundation for other games that followed.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you give it?
It's a 5 out of 5.
Wow. You're playing it too fast and loose.
I do sometimes.
I'm going to give Donald Duck's Playground. I didn't play it as a kid. So all of my enjoyment comes from like somewhere around 30-year-old man, which makes it weird and hopefully a little funny. Because it's just weird to think that I was able to be like, I loved this game a minute ago, and then you find out I was 30. But I did. I really had a good time with it. And it was just, I wasn't aware of it growing up at all. So to me, it was like an unearthed Sierra AGI gem, and just loading up that I don't know, color palette and just the way it just immediately looked like a Sierra game. It felt like this lost gem that I didn't know about as a kid. Because I was playing, my educational games were like Reader Rabbit and shit like that, if that rings a bell to anybody. But so anyway, I liked it. I don't have nostalgia for it, and I want to save my 5s for just the cream of the crop, which is a gross but effective analogy or metaphor, whatever the difference even is between those words. I'm giving this a 3.
Like Cypress Hill, they use that. Cream of the crop, I rise to the top. I won't say the next word because I don't have a political angle in this podcast.
I was trying to think of something that rhymes with tops. We are not, neither of us are rhymers. We're not. Well, listen, let's move on with that before anybody listening has a chance to think about it.
That's fine. They're fast thinkers. That's the thing about adventure gamers is they catch on to things. And I mean, if you're not an adventure gamer, I'm shocked you're listening too. So go, you do you.
And they're doing them. They're like, hey, leave me alone.
Maybe I will. At heart, I'm an adventure gamer. I've just never played them. That's fine. I would be shocked if somebody wrote in and said, I've only experienced adventure games through your podcast. Thank you for that.
Right. I refuse to play them. I don't.
Especially after listening to you guys talk about it. It's like, what a bunch of bullshit.
I just want to hear these two specific idiots talk about adventure games.
That would be weird. But no, you do you, for real. So yeah, King's Quest 3 is next on the list. Magic spells and shit.
Right, yeah, that was the working title too. King's Quest 3, Magic Spells and Shit by Sierra Online. I like King's Quest 3, despite what our audience thinks right now. They're like, bullshit. I've been listening to this show for some time and I know you don't. And to that I say, it depends on the context. Okay, I can like it. There's a world in which I use a walkthrough and I actually really enjoy this game, King's Quest 3, because it's really good looking. It's got that McNeil Brothers art kind of vibe that Gold Rush has. I think it's really interesting and well done and clever. And yes, it's like super mean and a little bit evil, but the way the clock works and having time to like go fetch things from the city and get back before you get caught, like there's some genuinely cool, innovative mechanics in this game that I really respect. So that's my thoughts on King's Quest 3. I've never even played it without a walkthrough, so I've never truly had an experience to hate it. I could like with the walkthrough, you can objectively look at how unfair it all is. Like those moments where you're just like, wow, I would have never figured that out. Like never. This would have been the moment where if I wasn't looking through a walkthrough, I would be now. That's malarkey. So I could see how unfair it is and brutal it is just from those types of moments. But I mean, I've only ever really enjoyed my time with it, if I'm being real.
Oh shit.
I know, right?
I couldn't find my Space Piston magazine and I just found it in my King's Quest 3 box looking all like beautiful. And I'm like, hey buddy, what are you doing in here, man? Who was so careless? It's so random because I don't have an unopened box that would have, because it's 4.
It's just in there increasing the value of King's Quest 3.
I don't even know if I've ever even opened this King's Quest 3 box, to be honest. Hello, you look so good in there. Thanks for being here with me, guys, during this wondrous moment.
This show is all about self-discovery.
It's also a hint book in here. Well, that's nice. So in the original instruction booklet for this game, the ingredients and the spells are written out in handwriting, and it gives you this sort of like personal touch. I can see in the copy that I have, people have checked off ingredients as they've gone through it. And it really does make you feel like you're a cultivator and a real magic user. And then you're sneaky at the same time. So there's like that element of like surprise and stress. It makes you feel feelings. I think that this is also the first kind of King's Quest game that had any kind of idea of a rudimentary storyline. So it started really coming into its own, even though it's intimidating. And I never played it without a walkthrough. I think it's creative, right? There's magic and wizards, and it's a big game. It's not a small game. You get to leave the castle. You're not stuck at home. You get to hang out with bears and do unusual things. And it's still scary, though. Things will just come and kill you. You have to save all the time. It is not any less scary, and in fact more scary than the first 2 King's Quest games.
Right. It's a good assessment. It is simply, for me, like the negatives about it can be kind of reduced down to it's just too hard. But understanding again, like we don't have to go through this again, but like the time that it came out, and there being nothing to do besides think on this and chip away at it and stuff. Like even then, it's arguably a bit hard because of some of the other games that we'll get to in 86, but I guess I'm just trying to say is that if you put aside the fact that it's just too hard, it's really clever and innovative. And the idea of like, doing your own like incantations, if that's the word for it, and having to procure like ingredients and just all the things that you do in this are it's a very I really respect this game.
Hmm.
Everything else aside, so that's where I stand with it. For like a number, man, I would say I would say man,
See, I'm at 3 solid. So,
yeah, I'm actually gonna give it a 3 as well.
yeah.
We just said it with different tones and levels of enthusiasm. But because it felt like you weren't liking it, and it felt like I was, and we both came out with 3.
Yeah. That's why scales are so independent. And that's why it's going to be fun to find out the average later.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, number 5 is Space Quest: The Sarian Encounter. I feel like everybody's gonna know what I'm gonna say for Space Quest. Like Space Quest 1 that's a 5 for me on the HI list. Yeah, easy 5.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Easy 5.
Yeah.
Did you hit that one first in the series?
Yes. No, actually, I for some reason, one of my first memories of ever playing an adventure game was playing Space Quest 2 in black and white on a
Ooh,
Macintosh. Yeah.
well, that's a good memory.
So I don't know what happened there. I'm pretty sure I've whittled it down to we must have bought Gold Rush, Police Quest 1, and Space Quest 2 at the same time we bought the computer. Because
Mm.
those 3 are like the first 3. I don't know which one even came first. It might have all been the same day. Um, fire them all up and see which one you want to play first, kind of thing. So, but anyway, yeah, I think I played two first, and in black and white, which was still just blown away by walking on the roof. But back to 1, I would just I don't think I need to really say anything about Space Quest 1. It's because of how many times I have before on record.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna make this my easy 5. What do you say?
Well, I didn't play it till after, and it was now, I don't remember. Didn't you, on a version that you have the ability to pause? Like, did it pause when you were typing stuff on the version that you played of Space Quest 1, or did it keep playing through?
I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure AGI um doesn't, and SCI 0 did. That's how I have it.
Is that how it went?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, because some of them would have
90%
been
sure.
remade in a later. Yeah, it was. 'Cause the reason I ask is it was just another one of those games on the list of too intimidating for me to play without a walkthrough. So, although I appreciated the games and found them funny, they were games that I didn't play until I had already played Space Quest 4 and 5 and 6. And then I got that video game guidebook, and then I went back and played 1, 2, and 3.
Right. Okay. And I'm recalling our King's Quest episode. So yes, AGI is definitely the one where it doesn't pause, and then SCI 0, it does pause. Making King's Quest, I guess,
Right.
the only game with where there's a version of both.
Hmm.
So yeah, all the AGI games they don't pause. It's funny that keeps coming up for you. So that was a real that really messed with you, huh? Like made
It was
things
a
a lot more
big deal.
difficult,
Yeah,
right?
the pressure. I mean, and I get it. You can charge your response. I'm okay with it now. See, I remember way back when we were talking to Rick on a podcast episode, he had some versions of some of these earlier games, maybe even Space Quest, that paused because it was just some random version on some random system. And I don't remember enough details to even back myself up on it, but I do recall having the conversation.
Okay, so and that makes sense because those are the exact strange tiny differences in
Hmm.
like in ports. Like sometimes like the Mac and the Apple II GS or whatever or Atari ST port might have a strange quirk like that where it does pause for you to type. That's believable, if not just vague enough to be removed from our canon because we don't know which one. But I believe it. Okay, so you found
Many wouldn't, but I will.
because I thought King's Quest 1 was, I mean, very hard. It's an early Sierra game. All the AGI games are hard. We could get that out of the way now. But I thought it was a lot more fair. There's definitely some unfair moments, don't get me wrong. But I thought it was more fair than the preceding AGI games. Probably by
Hmm.
a lot. Because really the preceding AGI games in this case are just King's Quest 1 through 3. Omitting Donald Duck and Cauldron.
I bet you liked that there was like always multiple solutions and stuff in games like that. There was never just one way. You can drop the rock on him or kill him another way. Like all the way through the game, it was kind of like that. Like, how do you want to play this game, gamer person?
Right. And Space Quest, I give them credit for making deaths fun. It's not to say that they weren't in the preceding King's Quest games, but I think King's Quest Space Quest really leaned into it and like went out of their way to make the deaths funny or outrageous. And then all the other games after that, including King's Quest, then kind of shifted gears. Like, hey, it doesn't have to just be he's carried off by a bird. Like it could be, I don't know, goofier, whatever. I'm giving King's Quest 1 of 5. Sorry.
Space Quest 1?
Maybe, yeah. No, I'm going back.
Cool.
And giving that game. No, sorry.
No, but the creators, they were influenced by Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Mars Needs Women, and all of their favorite Earth movies that as aliens they would have watched. Because that's the thing. I mean, when you have games that are made by people that are not of this Earth, you end up with like wild, out of this world quality.
Wow, very good. You really committed to that to the point where it confused me 2 times.
But you got it back, right?
Yeah, I got
it back.
I'm here
Very
now.
Good.
Yeah, way to show commitment.
It's real, though. I mean, that is quotes. It's off the back of the box. Those are the movies that influenced them in these games. And they did have great deaths. So that was the relation.
What do you give it?
I want to give it a 3.5.
Wow. 3? I mean, if you're sorry, I won't talk you into your answer.
4. It's a 4. It's a 4.
Okay. We're at Leisure Suit Larry in the land of the lounge lizards.
I have the napkin and the box.
Okay.
I'm ready to talk.
I don't have to cut the sounds when they're big box noises, because then it's it's sound effects at that point.
It's an unused napkin. It was not used for anything.
Gross. I don't like the implications behind that.
It's unsoiled. Yes.
Right. Jesus Christ. Leisure Suit Larry is amazing. I'm giving it a 5. I don't know. You go first on this one. I went first on the last one. What was your first run-in with Leisure Suit Larry 1?
My first run-in, I must have been about 9 or 10 years old, just after King's Quest 4, and I liked it. My dad helped me with some of the questions, and then I figured out my own way to get in, as I've talked about it. I thought it was funny. I played the whole thing with no hint book, and I was able to finish it. It made me laugh. I liked how it understood pretty much.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Not as long as King's Quest. I think I went back to it on and off, probably over a period of a year or 2, but probably not like not more than 20 hours, but probably close to 20 hours for me.
All right.
Because I had a lot to figure out, I know it's like what, a 40-minute game, right? Just like Space Quest, but I had to figure this shit out all on my own.
Yeah, no, I'm not good. I like how you kind of tried to reduce it at the end after saying it had been more than a year.
It was just
like, well, not more than 20 hours. I mean, definitely a year of my life, but
I like on the box, this is one of the coolest things. Communicate using full sentence input and optional joystick. The game understands over 900 words, including some of your 4-letter favorites. Like, that's a selling point.
Naughty, yeah. Yeah, very naughty.
Yeah, and Allo made it with Mark Crow, the two of them together. So that's why you also have some of that wicked cool writing, because it was adapted from a text game. But they had to create like a character. So instead of it just being a game about you, which is kind of the text game was this generic, whoever it was, you could imagine yourself as him. They had to kind of create Larry and the persona around him while pretty much faithfully following the storyline and injecting humor into all of it.
Right. Yeah, it's always funny. I'm stuck on when you said Mark Crow. I was just thinking about how, because of the Mark Crow factor, that there's almost jarring scenes in Police Quest 1 that look like Leisure Suit Larry just because of the female portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And then that got me thinking that there was a real missed opportunity on Sierra's behalf to not have lefties be enlightened. Because I know,
Right.
like after Larry 3, kind of like when Space Quest becomes Roger Wilco, in that same
Mm-hmm.
era, Larry became more like the cartoony big nose super short Larry,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's different. That doesn't feel like Lighten anymore, or Litten.
No,
That feels like cartoon. I don't know, it
different.
doesn't feel like the same world, but the first 3 Larry games do feel like Litten just because of Mark
Mm-hmm.
Crow, like the exact same kind of nighttime vibes and
That's
whatever.
probably it. That's why, I mean, Police Quest vibed with me so hard when I got it, even though it was like a little bit more straight edge, and my humor would run more towards Leisure Suit Larry or the Space Quest games. Police Quest had this like funny wry humor about it too, and that similarity in look that it pulled me in so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a sternness in the humor that's because I was just thinking the other day how like in Phantom Fellows I've tried to use the "you're blowing it" joke several times,
Mm-hmm.
and I really had to look myself in the mirror and be like, nobody's gonna get that. Like, like very few people who like Sierra like Police Quest. First of all,
I know, right? Which
so
is so weird.
there goes 90% of your niche audience to begin with, and then talking about like a deep director's cut inside knowledgey thing that Al Lowe had to tell us. It's
Mm-hmm.
just nobody's gonna know. Like nobody, because even if you listen to our podcast, you wouldn't remember that episode to remember
No, we
this
don't even
obscure
remember
fact.
it.
And what I'm
Yeah.
and what I'm talking about, so that must be frustrating for the audience. Is in our Aloe interview, he said that he was brought into Police Quest because Jim Wallace was, he wasn't he was an actual policeman. He didn't know what he was doing as far as
Mm-hmm.
making an adventure game was concerned. So they brought in Allo to help him out, and Al told us that every rejection line in the game when he got there that Jim wrote was "You're blowing it." Just
Mm-hmm.
every line was just "You're blowing it." There's something like this Wilford Brimley kind of voice in my head yelling it, and something just deeply funny about that to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that represents the humor of I think it represents I was very Daffy Duckish there. Tongue started to roll on that one.
Hmm.
That represented the humor of Police Quest 1. There was like this stern, like old man yells at a cloud funniness about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel what you're saying. But anyway, we got to go back to Larry. And Larry, my dad really liked Larry. And I remember my mom used to always just like be so silly about how it was naughty. In
Mm-hmm.
like a totally fun, like ribbing way, like daddy's playing the naughty game. And like there was just this really cute, if not I dare say healthy dynamic that I remember about my parents surrounding this game. And just
Mm-hmm.
something about it. And actually, I'm gonna steer out of that territory. What was he gonna say? And I'll just say that it brings really good memories to me, and of my parents specifically, and then of course playing it, having just replayed it recently for a comparison episode. It held up as just like a fun time. I mean, when I say held up, obviously it was held with heaping doses of nostalgia. But I'm gonna give it a 5 as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you give it?
I'm gonna have to give it a 5 because I've replayed it so many times that obviously I love it.
Okay. Um,
This version right here.
the original, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was just because it did feel kind of naughty. Like this, you'd have to if
Mm-hmm.
you're viewing it through modern lenses, then you're probably angry at it, much less neutral. But like from back in the day, like there was a playfulness, I guess you could say, to the naughty factor, and it
Mark
worked.
Crow is
Hmm.
an impressionable American youth who got the idea for his graphics from a dirty old man and former school teacher. That's what it says.
Wow, was that the same person? The school
I
teacher?
I'm gonna guess so, yeah.
Okay. Um. All right. Well, Police Quest, or no, sorry. Next is actually Mixed Up Mother Goose.
Which I do not have. You There is no box noises. I have no box noises because I never really got into the kids games for the Sierra stuff, the educational games, because I jumped right into Larry's and King's Quests and Rosella's. That it's just like no educations for me. Thanks.
Um, I really liked Mix Up Mother's Goose. Maybe I'm not sure I've ever really even talked about it in
No, I've never
I don't
played
know,
it.
6 years and 200 and some episodes, because it's not. I don't know. I'm not even sure really what to say about it, but no, that's not true, because I replayed it recently. Was not recently, a couple of years ago with Strum. I really like this game. Like it hits like hardcore nostalgic notes for me. Like every time I see a screen from this game, I'm just like, whoa. Like I think I probably quietly spent more time on this game than most of the other games on this whole list. Like
Okay.
I'm just guessing. Like that's on feel. Like it feels so strong, the nostalgia with
Um,
this, that I must have just like spent hours playing this, and I
like,
don't know.
when was your first time?
Got it. I don't know. I almost took that jokey, inappropriate route, but it was too on the nose. I don't know. I
She'll
just
tell you. It's,
right. Thanks. Yeah. You guys, you've been here long enough. We know. Um, I just know that I used to name the character, I picked the black haired kid and name him Paul, and I felt like it was me. Like it looked like me, which is just marvelous to think back on when you see the actual, pixels, and the low resolution, and just to also connect that with this vague memory of feeling really, um well matched in the game. Yeah, I don't know. I played this game a lot. Then I recently played it again with Strummer, and it's just a giant fetch quest. Um,
mm-hmm.
but like unabashedly so, where you have to go gather the things. Which I guess, I mean, essentially that's what the first two King's quests are, aren't they? It just has that more like on the nose, instructional value, because it's for kids, right? It's supposed to.
Yeah, because
Um,
they remade this game later on, right? And did it in, I don't know, in AGI or no, in VGA. I think they did it in VGA later on.
they did it in all the things. There's too
Yeah.
many versions. This game has more versions. Like Roberta was very obviously, I would guess, really proud of this game, because she just
Mhm.
took it with her everywhere. Like as soon as they introduced like CDs, it got a CD-ROM version. Like it got the VGA version. It got all the versions. There's literally, I think there's five of them, five different versions. With that'd be a question for for one short eye. Too bad it's probably no fun at all to play through, or else that would make a arguably good video, because there's a wild amount of versions in this. But anyway, I like it for nostalgic reasons. As a game, it's fine. It's a good game to play with your kid. Like honestly, it holds
Mhm.
up as far as kids are concerned nowadays. There's because especially like watching my kid grow up through like this Minecraft era and stuff. There's low resolution is never really gone out of style or whatever. Like I don't think I don't think a lot of kids look at pixels and find it jarring or old, because there's so much pixelated stuff in gaming still. So it's still fun to play the game. Like I had a really good time playing. I just said game when I should have said kid. Point is, me and my kid had fun playing this when he was like,
Mhm.
I don't know, 4, 6 ish, and I give it a 3.
Yeah. I've never played it and I don't know much about it and I was a little too old for it and I don't know about its impact on the gaming world. So I'm going to throw a 2 in on that one.
um, I'm just gonna omit this one because I don't know how to do a game that one of us played and the other hasn't, because the other ones we haven't played together.
Because it's all on impression. That's okay.
I
You
don't
don't want
know.
to drag it down? Do you want me to make my thing a 3? Will you keep
Well,
it now?
see, that's why we shouldn't do it, because you know what I mean. It's like I feel it's devaluing it too much. This is
Yeah.
this is the most mathematical we've ever been. God damn it!
Ooh.
I know
Okay.
we are by the book here, and
We are
it's a
solid.
rigid rule
So
book.
many
I've
rules.
decided.
So many
Yeah,
rules.
so
Oh
many
my God. The document in docs has just gotten so long now.
rules. Thank God we're out of there. All right. Did we do? Okay, we did Larry. Did we?
Yeah, we're doing police quest now. We talked about it briefly, but we haven't done it yet.
Okay, thank you. That was exactly my confusion. But I thought, okay. So please press one. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, it taught me how to read maps, taught me how to follow procedures. It's the only place in my life I would follow rules. Everywhere else, I was just like, screw that, anti establishment, whatever. Like, that was me everywhere. But when I'm playing this game, I'm just like, hey, hey, save the game, like follow the rules, stay on the right side of the road, don't run the red light. And it was like, it was one place that helped contain the wildfire that was my existence as a young child. And yeah, it's been invaluable, man. I've been always a good shot with guns. I've always been able to sight things, and I know it's just like a digital game, but I've always been able to read maps and get people places. Like everybody's always just like, here, Anna knows how to read maps. Like it's just always been assumed. It taught me the CB radio codes so that I could make friends with all those trucker people off the mountain. It definitely a life changer. In the CV in my car.
For better and worse. I mean, those truckers were pretty aggressive.
We were on an island. So we were connecting with people that weren't on the island. They were on either in the States, in Port Angeles, or in Vancouver. But because we knew the lingo, they were always willing to talk with us.
Interesting. You're right. Well, yeah, actually makes perfect sense. They have to be just so bored.
Yeah, we just go up to the top of the mountain and have conversations and stuff with the truckers. But anyways, the point is, this game, it was a life changer because of all those reasons. And I was obsessed with Jim Walls. I thought that he was like the coolest policeman ever. And it didn't make me not want to listen to, songs that were anti-police, that were rap like, that came out in the 90s. And it didn't make me like be a better person really in any way, shape, or form. But if you count map reading as making me a better person, then maybe I lied, and it did make me a better person indeed.
I wasn't.
Like I'm holding the map right now. This is a beautiful big map, right? It's got the legend. It teaches you how to read, like sorry for the noise there. But yeah, it teaches you how to refold a map and or pamphlet. 5 out of 5. This game, you get free Prodigy. It's right on the box, guys. Right on the box.
I love Prodigy. Really did. Yeah, I also give it a 5 out of 5. This game takes a lot of shit. For some reason, Police Quest is the one that everybody gives a hard time for, as far as being problematic.
So weird.
And it's not fair to measure things, I think, on the same, like, I don't know, virtue signaling scale. Let's call it for what it is, for when things came out to how they are now. But I almost feel like it takes more of a bad rap than like Larry does at certain points, and I don't know why. What's your experience playing Space Quest 2? Do you have memories of it? Did you play it later? I don't remember your Space Quest 2 origin story.
Oh, it's actually the same as Space Quest 1, 2, and 3. All of them were intimidating. The game didn't pause when you typed. So I didn't play them through until I had my walkthrough book. So I kind of categorized them all as the same. They were funny to play through, but scary.
It's like a rating scale of doesn't pause when you type through 5.
Unfortunately,
spoiler,
it's true.
None of them pause when you type. None of these AGI
I like it, but I've never finished it without a walkthrough or anything else. So I'm unfortunately and Police Quest paused when I was playing it because I must have had the SCI version.
No, I mean, I'm not like positive that all AGI games don't pause when you type. I am positive that there was no SCI Police Quest 1 besides the point and click one.
Anyways, I want to give it a better score, but I don't know like so much about it too. I like the animation. It's another one that should be a 3.5, but I can't rate it lower than Space Quest 1, so it's going to have to be a 4.
Now I'm wondering what's going on with this pausing while playing thing, though. Because you're sure that because I'm not even confident that I don't have it completely backwards and that it's SCI 0 that doesn't pause, but you're sure that some of these games don't pause, right?
Right. No, they definitely don't. But I believe I thought my Police Quest did, but it might not have.
Okay.
Memory hazy. Quick, rated the game. It was a 4 out of 5. What did you say? You said 5?
No, I didn't go yet. I'm gonna give Space Quest 2 a 4 though, as well, because it's it's my least favorite in the Space Quest series, but I really like every game in the Space Quest series. So that alone misrepresents, because it's definitely my favorite series, right? So to put it last in your favorite is still a good thing. I just didn't like in Space Quest 2 you spend so much damn time in the forest. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
always annoyed me, and I can't. I've some episodes when this comes
It's
up, I
a
let it
space
go.
game, but you're in a jungle. Yeah,
Right, and
no,
it's
I
not
get
like
that.
this cool alien world. You're just like you could go anywhere in the galaxy, and they chose an Earth-like forest. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really disappointing. And when you're expecting like alien worlds, like you could do anything imaginable, and you're like, how about just West Coast American forests? Like, damn
Mm-hmm.
it. But I do like the reproduction salesman thing. That just like the cloning factor was a cool visual, and it's Space Quest, and it's still actually a fun game to play through. And I thought the difficulty level was good for AGI, and that's that. So 4 out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up. This is the gun. Gold Rush. All right.
Yeah,
I mean, easy 5. I think everybody
I get it.
listening would agree that this is
This
an
is
easy
such
5.
a heavy box, man, dude. It's like so much in this box. It's so beautiful. There's a book where you want to learn all about the story of Rush to Riches and California Gold.
It's a
It's
thick
cool.
ass
It's
book.
got like those. It is. It's got its own guide. It's got a map for the wall. How can you not appreciate this game right freaking now?
Yeah, this game is a labor of love. It took them forever to make it. They were sleeping in a van outside of the, it's like literally outside of the Sierra headquarters making this game, the McNeil brothers. There's all the different routes. We've talked about it plenty on the show before. It's an underrated game, Sierra game. If you haven't
Mm-hmm.
played this game, it's fun. You should play it. Go to
It
UHS hints.
is.
Use UHS hints for this. Like
It's the most beautiful AGI game to me. Like it's the absolute maximum that they could do with these graphics
yeah,
before moving on to the next way to make games entirely.
yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Yes, it's absolutely
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous. It's very interesting. Like every screen is just very interesting and fun to look at. And um, yeah, the deaths are great. The different travel routes that you can take are a lot of fun. And it's a game. If I had to pick like the one tier game I'd like to just see more content made on, it would be Gold Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't like it, like I wish there was more videos or deep dives or I don't know things like that on the Gold Rush game because it is quite fascinating and quite ambitious
Mm-hmm.
for the time. Like to have 3
Yeah.
drastically different ways of playing the game to where it's the first quarter and the last quarters aren't even the right measurement, but for argument's sake, the first quarter and the last quarter are more or less the same for every playthrough. But then the whole half of the game, the whole middle chunk of the game is completely different to where it is almost 3 different games. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not because again the first and last the beginning and the end remain the same more or less, but the whole middle is just completely different based on the routes you go. So that's my sales pitch. It's really fun. Get it put in you. I give it a 5.
I wanted this game. I wanted it so bad because we had it on like one of those demo discs where it would show you other games that were available. And it was just so open world America. It was so epic. It was so pretty. And then I ended up getting like on a demo disc of some sort the ability to just walk a few places and interact a bit. It was a short demo in some way of the game, and it did was make me want it more. And every time I'd go to get it or I'd see it in the store, my dad would be like, "Oh, that's an educational game. You don't want that." Hence the educational game thing, I guess,
Right.
that I must have had. But he always is like, "No, no, no." So of course, when I first got a hold of it, it was such a huge deal to me. So it would have taken like any context of difficulty or anything else just like right out of my head because I wanted this game so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it at a 5 because I'm just impressed with what this game is, and I'm a huge fan of the gold rush and the history of gold towns and mining and everything about this. Gold panning just is right up my alley. I've never had to deal with an obstinate donkey in like real life, but maybe like that's about it.
Sounds like a good band name. We are
An
Obstinate
obstinate
Donkey.
donkey. I'd watch them. It's British band name for sure.
Oh yeah, I already get. Okay. No, I like that. Okay, you've got a more refined and understood backstory with it. I just know that I've had it and played it a whole lot, and I think a lot of my judgment comes from my replay, like uh,
Mm-hmm.
There's too many likes. Like 10. There's 2 more. You can't stop saying them. Like 10 years ago, I replayed it for the first time since I was a kid, and it was just I had so much fun replaying it. It was so good. All right, that's Gold Rush. Manhunter New York, I'm omitting from judgment because I don't know it. But do you want to say anything about it? What would you have given it?
Yes. Well, I've been really impressed with it graphically as well. I feel that in a different way, it has pushed the envelope of what AGI graphics could accomplish, but in a real visceral way. The Murrays, the 2 brothers and the sister working together, were a creative genius, and everywhere. And its work with Sierra is something I'll always be impressed by, because I liked the Ancient Art of War series and Sierra Boxing, which was also done by them. I've always thought it was cool too, as a family, that they could work together. Outside of that, though, there was no mouse control in this. I've never finished it. I've just played through quite a bit of it. And I think Paul and I are eventually going to have to play it for the fun and amusement of all attending.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand it's going to be omitted at this point, but I feel it will get its just desserts.
Right. Yeah. No, it will. It's coming back. We'll see. We'll all see. Might as well just group Manhunter 2 into that as well, because I haven't played that one. Did you play Manhunter 2 at all?
I have played some of it, and it is also beautiful. I have the box right here. I even have my little orb card that shows I'm a part of the whole thing.
It has both Manhunter games. When I'm looking at a screen right now, it's just got one screenshot from each game, and it's just like, if you were to play like one of these doesn't belong, it would be the Manhunter games, because they're graphically just they have a totally different personality than the rest of the AGI games. There's like the illustration style is like a little looser. Does that make sense? Like a little less. It's a little less rigid, a little less like perfectly constructed.
Very comic booky, reliant on shadows. Always kind of reminded me a little bit about some of the effects they used with the Heart of China games. Just like that little bit of that darker, more realistic looking graphic style, but in a wild steampunk futuristic environment.
It does share with Heart of the Dragon. It does have that cyberpunk, like how Heart of the Dragon is cyberpunk is also how Manhunter is. So like
Rise
in
of
the
the Dragon. Yeah.
Sorry, did I mix it? I might have mixed. Well, actually, they're kind of very similar anyway.
They're both, both those games are extremely similar to each other. They're both very serious games. I've never finished either of them either, but I own them both.
All right, so we're going to circle back to Manhunter, and we're kind of done. I'm going to bring up just the I don't know what you want to do about the last one. The last one we have on the list is King's Quest IV, but
right, and neither of us have played the AGI version of it technically, although I would rate it high, because the AGI version, although it doesn't pause when you're typing, as far as I know, does give you Easter eggs with like the Beam Me Up Scotty and the King's Quest rap, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
That's the word. Okay, that's right. You can't do it in the SCI version.
No, only in the AGI version, which I never had. So
the lab.
Yeah, in the jail. Yeah. You get to meet the devs and do the Roberta rap.
Yeah. Let's just omit this one. I think we'd both probably. I know I'd give it a 5. I'd give King's Quest 4 or 5 in general. So there's that. But it's like, like you kind of alluded to, it's inauthentic because we didn't actually play the AGI version. Most people listening probably didn't sell very well. Is a large part of my assumption there, and it's not known for its AGI version. Not that it's not, but you know what I mean. There's no need for an exception here. So We're done. Okay, so the results they're in. We've got a 3-way tie for. We should go. We're so new to ranking that I don't know how to do this. Let's start at 9. So ultimately we ranked 9 games. So we've omitted, for the record, Black Cauldron, and both Manhunters, and mixed up Mother Goose. Because one or more of us didn't play them. So that left us with 9 of the remaining 14 AGI games that are ranked. And number 9 is King's Quest II, Romancing the Throne. It gets a 2.0 because I give it a 1 and you give it a 3, and that's how math seems to work.
Hmm.
We don't have to give reasons. We already gave reasons. This is just the outcome of said reasons. So, giving myself permission to move swiftly down this list. Number 8, King's Quest 3. Gets a 3.0. I blame Anna. I thought it deserved better than that. Sorry, guys, for Anna.
I'm always the troublesome one.
Unbelievable. Number 7, King's Quest. Just King's Quest. It's a 3.5. So that's interesting.
Mhm.
That's a weird, it's a decimal based rating, 3.5 so King's Quest 1 beats King's Quest 3. So that okay, interesting. This data is interesting. Number 6. I shouldn't have been the one that read these. Number 6 is Space Quest 2, getting a 4.0. So you can tell we like AGI because we're already into the 4s. Number 5, Donald Duck. Actually, I guess 5 and 6 are a bit of a tie. They're both 4.0. I mean, that's not a bit of a tie. That is a tie.
Essentially a tie. Yes.
And then number 4, but definitely number 4, but it doesn't matter. Let's not do any more confusing on everybody. Number 4 is Space Quest. Sarian Encounter is a 4.5 out of 5. So that means that the next 3 are tied for first. And that is Gold Rush, Police Quest 1, and Leisure Suit Larry. 5 out of 5.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So,
I'm okay with that. That is not like everybody else's, and I'm okay with that.
well, one of the weirder things about the results are we're basically saying if you don't play those 3, then play Space Quest. And if you don't play Space Quest 2, and if you don't play Space Quest 2, then play Donald Duck. Basically,
That's
Donald Duck. Yeah, wow. Man, that
Just
did
wait
exactly.
till you meet me in person. I do that as much in real life as I do in text, but more because I can fire it off faster.
Jeez Louise. So, yeah, that's our main takeaway here today, folks, is if you're going to play an AGI game, we suggest Larry, Police Quest, or Gold Rush. But mostly play Gold Rush. In a homework-like fashion, I'm assigning it to all of you, except for Brian, because he played it for us that one time, which was awesome and not forgotten. Yeah, Space Quest, I guess, is maybe the only arguable surprise that it didn't come 5 out of 5. But you had your reasons. So, all right, let's get out of here. We're all done. Say stuff at them. Please.
All right. Well, speaking of Brian is a true believer on our Patreon podcast. Patreon, those words in some order. So thank you so much for being there for us, as well as Gareth and Mark Fillion and Michael Council and Tim Ellis and a few more recent. I don't know if I've said your name yet, but Alan May. He's just been with us for a little while at the super fan level. And
say the name again. They cut
Tim
out.
Ellis.
After.
Oh, Tim Ellis. Do we got it?
Are you sure it was Tim Ellis?
Yeah, he's right here. He's there. No, he's not the new one. Alan May's the new one.
That's the
Sorry.
one. Yeah, okay, Alan.
That's the one. I've never been great with names, but here I am trying. Also, Curtis Myers.
Sorry.
That's okay. Curtis, thank you for being also one of our newer Patreoners. And yeah, you guys are all awesome. Ryan Ensley, I don't think I've said thanks to you yet for being there. And everyone else who continues to be awesome by still being there. Paul Corman, aren't you great? You're a show supporter. $1 per month. We appreciate you and your efforts to keep the podcast going. That's good stuff. As well, you know what? We do have a page and a group on Facebook, so you could probably go look for us out there if you wanted to. You could also check out our Twitter. Occasionally, 1 out of every 10 tweets, we tweet something other than just the episodes, like maybe pictures of the games we're talking about today. So we'll see what ends up out there. No guarantees. Email us, mail@theclassicgamersguild.com. That would be just fine. You can check us out on Instagram and YouTube. I have a couple of people that faithfully say, hey, on Instagram, how's it going? Really liked the episode. So thanks to you. I appreciate you all very, very much. And thanks for listening to the episode.
Don't do a murder.
because that's why I was so easily able to procure a lot of these.
Oh, you procured them? Is that is?
I procured them. They were curatingly procured.
Well, I'm surprised you can even see me from way up there on your high horse procuring things as I just buy them as peasants.